As one traverses the bends and curves of the Serpentine Ghats, undulating hills and vales roll out. Glades and groves nestling within, the path unfurls, leading one to the blessed earth of Kozhikode. Behold, a melting pot of tradition and modernity, where art meets trade and religion meets culture, blending into a unique, rare, enriching fusion that is Kozhikode. Internalizing the kaleidoscopic dimensions of the socio-cultural, literary, economic facets of fascinating Kozhikode, with pride, with privilege, State Bank of India embarked on her journey in banking here. A journey that has carried forth a legacy, a trust, a bonding of 150 years and more. Let us be part of this festive journey, marked with momentous celebrations, historic milestones, and a journey of the Bank of the people of our nation. A journey that feels the pulse of the citizens of India, the significant epochal progress of the State Bank of India. This is the land, lived and used, stepped and trampled upon by the Chinese, the Portuguese, the English, the Arabs, and the Armenians. Imperialism did bring tremendous changes throughout our nation in its wake. But amazing were the winds of transformation that touched Malabar. This era witnessed Malabar becoming synonymous with the revolution that took place in trade and industry. The first leaf in the history of banking was written here at Malabar. 1792, the Anglo-Carnatic Battle. This battle saw the ultimate collapse of the Mysore tiger, as Tipu Sultan was better known. With this battle, Malabar, a witness to the valor of Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, came under total control of the British rule. With apparently the Srirangapatnam Agreement playing the trigger in this crucial leg of history. During this period, the British extended its rule in the area that covered three presidencies: the Bengal Presidency, the Bombay Presidency, and the Madras Presidency. It was the Madras Presidency that held supremacy in trade. Malabar was a part of the Madras Presidency. The Malabar of 1802 was comprised of not merely Kozhikode and its neighbouring districts. The present-day Kannur district was a part of Malabar. So was the Malappuram district, comprising of the Aeronad region. The hilly expanses of the Wayanad district too were part of Malabar. And the Tamil-speaking territory of the present-day Palakkad district completed the Malabar area of 1802. With the headquarters of the Madras Presidency being shifted to Malabar, this land came under the absolute control of the British and hence came to be known as British Malabar. This era saw the various seaports opening up as new and exciting avenues of foreign trade. The senior officials of the British government and the prominent British industrialists together formed a new company, charting a new chapter in trade. A hideout in the lap of the sinuous Western Ghats, Wayanad, rugged and majestic, with her wild forests, alluring misty hills, with a rich tapestry of tea and coffee in myriad shades of green, rolling out and tumbling down amidst the rush of wild waterfalls, with a million blooms in a riot of color. Coffee, with its rich aroma, became the maiden export commodity of the British. The European countries then happened to be the leading markets of coffee. From the coffee estates, the British company reached out in due course to cover all the aromatic spices like pepper, ginger, cardamom and cinnamon, and finally moved on to the teak forests. The steady growth of investments and financial exchanges in trade led to the British company to think in terms of a banking institution.
Banking has been known in this country from very ancient times. In the olden days, the concept of deposits was not in vogue, but the indigenous bankers or the shroffs used to lend money at high rates of interest. Kautilya in his Arthashastra talks about the rates of interest which were prevailing in India then. He says that if it was an unsecured loan, the rate of interest could be as high as 60%. If it was secured, it would be about 15%. When the Muslims started coming into this country, it was these indigenous bankers who financed not only trade and commerce, but also the various Muslim kingdoms which were operating in India. When the Europeans came into this country, the Danes, the Dutch, the French, the English, these merchants were financed by these indigenous bankers. But a time came when the indigenous bankers were unable to meet the increasing credit requirements of these European merchants. It was then that these European merchants formed themselves into partnership houses or managing agency houses and started for the first time Western style banks in this country.
1737 witnessed the gradual disintegration and end of agency houses which packed up and left the scene. Marvelous Kolkata that reverberates with her soulful strains of Rabindra Sangeet and the call of the Bal Geeti. With its ancient culture and classic literature, the crucible of Indian tradition and heritage. Magical Bombay, where the shining swords narrate valorous tales of the Rajput warrior, where the undying heroic spirit of the Kshatriya lives on, where the majestic echoes of the royal Gharanas linger, where the doins of Hindustani Sangeet reign supreme. The seat of the Chera Chola Empire, the melting pot of Dravidian culture and prestige, Madras. The evolution of present-day banking in India was from the three presidency banks that were formed under the British Company. They were the Bank of Calcutta, which was formed in the year 1806 in Kolkata, the Bank of Bombay in 1840, and the Bank of Madras in 1843. The Indian Coinage Act of 1835. It was on the basis of this act that the British government introduced a unified coinage system in India.
ഈ ഓട്ടമുക്കാലൊക്കെ മാലകളാക്കി കുട്ടികൾ കഴുത്തിൽ ധരിക്കാൻ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരുന്നു. അപൂർവമായ ഒരു തലമുറയിൽപ്പെട്ട വളരെ കുറഞ്ഞ ആളുകളുടെ ഇടയിൽ ഈ നാണയങ്ങളൊക്കെ കൈകളിൽ എത്തിയിരുന്നുള്ളൂ. കാരണം വളരെ പാവപ്പെട്ട ആളുകൾക്കൊന്നും എല്ലാ നാണയങ്ങളും കാണാൻ അക്കാലത്ത് പോലും ഭാഗ്യം സിദ്ധിച്ചിരുന്നില്ല. അന്ന് ചെല്ലപ്പെട്ടികൾ അല്ല ആഭരണ പെട്ടികളിലായിരുന്നു നാണയങ്ങളൊക്കെ സൂക്ഷിച്ചിരുന്നത്. പഴയ ആളുകളൊക്കെ മുണ്ടിൻ്റെ കോന്തലയിലൊക്കെ നാണയം കെട്ടി സൂക്ഷിച്ചു വയ്ക്കുന്ന സമ്പ്രദായം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ബ്രിട്ടീഷുകാരുടെ നാണയങ്ങളാണ് വളരെ ഭംഗിയാർന്നതും ഓരോ കാലഘട്ടങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് പഠിക്കാൻ ആവശ്യമായ രീതിയിൽ ഭരണകർത്താക്കളുടെ കാലഘട്ടം രേഖപ്പെടുത്തി കൊണ്ടുവന്നിട്ടുള്ള നാണയം ബ്രിട്ടീഷുകാർ നാണയങ്ങളാണ്. വിക്ടോറിയ രാജ്ഞിയുടെ ആയാലും ജോർജ് അഞ്ചാമനും ആറാമനും ഒക്കെ ആയിട്ടുള്ള നാണയങ്ങൾ ആ രീതിയിലുള്ളതാണ്.
The 1860s. The British companies had invested a major portion of their capital in Malabar. The 1860s was the golden era of sea trade. The time when the celebrated backwaters, canals and rivers of Kerala flowing their way into the seas opened up the way for new and adventurous routes for travel and trade. A glorious period when the estates and gardens in the hilly expanse of Mayanad and Coorg bloomed and flourished with aromatic spices.
After the first Indian War of Independence, and when in 1858 the government of India took charge of the control of the affairs of the country from the East India Company, the government of India decided for the first time to introduce their own currency, and that was done by the Paper Currency Act of 1861. With the introduction of the paper currency of the government of India, the right which the three presidency banks had of issuing notes was withdrawn. And as a compensation, the government of India said that if the presidency banks opened branches in the interior parts of the country, the government would place their treasury balances with these branches. And that's how, from 1862, the three presidency banks started looking into branch banking. The Bank of Madras, like the other two banks, concentrated on opening branches at all important trading marts and the ports of Madras Presidency.
Cochin, the queen of the Arabian Sea, the port city of Kerala. 1862 witnessed the birth of the first branch of the Bank of Madras in Kerala in this port city of Cochin. Amazing indeed would be a glimpse into the period which saw the tremendous surfeit of assets in Malabar, with of course Kozhikode and its neighbouring regions being the principal centres of trade in Malabar. The Huzur treasury of Kozhikode proved insufficient to store the income generated out of the meteoric rise of trade and business in Kozhikode. The British company hence decided to shift the funds and deposits of Kozhikode to the Cochin branch of the Bank of Madras. But the provincial law of the period did not permit the transfer of the investments and associated transactions to another centre. This unusual situation led to considering the idea of opening a new branch of the Bank of Madras at Kozhikode itself. Needless to say, this promising idea progressed to the most fruitful realization.
Our Calicut branch was opened on 15th of October 1863 as a branch of Bank of Madras then, and this was in fact the second branch of the bank in Kerala, the first being the Cochin. 150 years is a very long period for any financial institution to survive, and it has done a great job, the branch and the bank in this area.
The inauguration of the Kozhikode branch of the Bank of Madras was indeed a celebration, and this news was carried in the newspapers in the Bombay province.
While the celebrations and the festivities will be enjoyed by all of us, it would not be out of place to mention here that we should give due importance to all those who have been there in the branch before us, starting with Mr. Fitzgerald, who was the first agent of Calicut branch.
The then Kozhikode branch of the Bank of Madras functioned in the same building at Mananchira that houses the present Kozhikode branch of State Bank of India. The only difference being that at that point of time, the building was taken on rent from the owner, Karyadan Kutti Hassan. It would be interesting to take a glimpse into the sights and sounds and the old world charm of Mananchira and its surrounding areas a century and a half ago, and then cast a look at the bustling Mananchira of today, where life races forward at a frenzied pace.
എനിക്കൊരു 6-7 വയസ്സുള്ളപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ കോഴിക്കോട് കാണുന്നത് എൻ്റെ അച്ഛൻ്റെ കൂടെയാണ്. അച്ഛൻ അന്ന് സിലോണിലാണ്. അച്ഛൻ 2 കൊല്ലമൊക്കെ കൂടുമ്പോഴാണ് വരിക. അപ്പോൾ അച്ഛൻ കോഴിക്കോട്ടേക്ക് പോകുന്നു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ ഒരു നഗരം കാണാൻ വേണ്ടി ശരി അവനും വന്നോട്ടെ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. അച്ഛൻ അന്ന് അക്കൗണ്ട് ഇമ്പീരിയൽ ബാങ്കിലാണ് ഇവിടുത്തെ. ഈ ഇമ്പീരിയൽ ബാങ്കാണ് പിൽക്കാലത്ത് സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ബാങ്ക് ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യയൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് മാറിയത്. അപ്പോൾ അച്ഛൻ്റെ കൂടെ അച്ഛൻ ഇമ്പീരിയൽ ബാങ്കിൽ എന്തോ കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഞാൻ ഈ നഗരത്തിൻ്റെ ചില ദൃശ്യങ്ങൾ കണ്ടു. ഒരു കുട്ടി എന്നുള്ള നിലയ്ക്ക് അന്ന് ഈ നഗരത്തിൽ വാഹനങ്ങളൊന്നും അധികമില്ല. ഞാൻ ഈ കുതിരവണ്ടി കാണുന്നത് അപ്പോഴാണ്. ഈ പാലക്കാടൻ ടൈപ്പുള്ള കുതിരവണ്ടിയല്ല, വിക്ടോറിയ സ്റ്റൈലിലുള്ള അല്ല, വലിയ കുതിരകൾ. അതിനെ കൗതുകത്തോടുകൂടി നോക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒരു കുതിരവണ്ടി അതിലൂടെ കടന്നുപോയി. അത് റോട്ടിലെ ഒരു കുണ്ടിൽ അതിൻ്റെ കുളമ്പ് വീണിട്ട് ചളി തെറിച്ചു എൻ്റെ ശരീരത്തിലും തെളിയായി. അതൊരു ഓർമ്മയുണ്ട് എനിക്ക്. അന്ന് ഈ നഗരത്തിൻ്റെ അന്നല്ല പിന്നീട് കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞ് നഗരത്തെ പറ്റി അറിയുമ്പോൾ നഗരത്തിൻ്റെ 3 ലാൻഡ്മാർക്കുകൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, ഒന്ന് മാനാഞ്ചിറ, മറ്റൊന്ന് കളക്ടറേറ്റ് ബിൽഡിംഗ്, മറ്റൊന്ന് ഈ ബാങ്ക് ആയി.
Way back in the 1830s, the Zamorin king Sri Manavedan Raja ordered for a pond to be dug up, the Manavedan Chira, the present Mananchira. The large area of land surrounding the Manavedan Chira was the Mananchira Maidan. The British gave a portion of this land for their Muslim soldiers to construct a mosque, the Patala Palli that we see today at Mananchira. Some land was given for the school run by the Basil Evangelical Mission and for the municipal hospital. While the municipal hospital or the RDO no longer function there, the memories of those old institutions linger on.
ഈ മാനാഞ്ചിറ മൈതാനത്തിലാണ് പിന്നീട് അന്നത്തെ ടൂറിംഗ് സിനിമകളും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഈ സർക്കസുകളും വന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ സർക്കസുകൾ ഇവിടെ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ എന്താ പ്രശ്നം ഉണ്ടായെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, മൃഗങ്ങൾ ഈ മാനാഞ്ചിറയിലിറങ്ങി വെള്ളം കുടിക്കുകയും അങ്ങനെയുള്ള സംഗതികൾ, അതുപോലെ മൃഗങ്ങളുടെ മറ്റേ ചാണകിടലും അങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളും ഒക്കെ ആയിക്കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ സാധാരണക്കാരന് ഇത് വലിയ പ്രശ്നമുണ്ടായി. അപ്പോഴാണ് പിയേഴ്സ് ലെസ്ലിയിലെ ഉദ്യോഗസ്ഥനായ മിസ്റ്റർ ലാംഗ്ലി ഇതിനെതിരെ കലക്ടറോട് പറയുന്നത് ഇത് ശരിയല്ല, അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഷുഡ് ബി പ്രൊഹിബിറ്റഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നു. മിസ്റ്റർ നാപ്പായിരുന്നു അന്ന് കളക്ടർ. ഈ നാപ്പ് ഉടൻ തന്നെ അത് നിരോധിച്ചു. എന്നിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സർക്കസ് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇന്നത്തെ കോർണേഷൻ തിയേറ്ററിൻ്റെ കിഴക്ക് ഭാഗത്ത് അന്ന് തെങ്ങിൻ തോട്ടമാണ്, അപ്പോൾ ആ തെങ്ങിൻ തോട്ടത്തിൽ വെച്ച് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സർക്കസ് നടത്താം. അങ്ങനെയാണ് സർക്കസ് ഇവിടുന്ന് പോകുന്നതും ടൂറിംഗ് ഈ സിനിമാ തിയേറ്ററുകൾ അങ്ങോട്ട് മാറും.
Once upon a time, maybe, just maybe, this whole stretch of land may have been a part of the royal fort. Strange are the ways of history which charts its own future with the passing of each moment.
ആരംഭിച്ച ബാങ്കിൻ്റെ ശാഖ 1866 ആകുമ്പോഴേക്കും ബി ഗ്രേഡ് പദവിയിൽ നിന്നും എ ഗ്രേഡ് പദവിയിലേക്ക് ഉയർത്തപ്പെടുന്നതായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ കഴിയും. ഇതിനൊരു പ്രധാന കാരണമായിട്ട് പറയുന്നത്, ഏകദേശം 500 രൂപ ഇനീഷ്യൽ ക്യാപിറ്റലായിട്ട് ആരംഭിച്ച ബാങ്ക് 1866 രേഖകളിലൂടെ കടന്നു പോകുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ കഴിയുന്നത് ഏകദേശം 30,000 രൂപയ്ക്ക് മുകളിൽ ബിസിനസ് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയതായിട്ടാണ്. മറ്റ് ബി ഗ്രേഡ് ബാങ്കുകളായിട്ടുള്ള മംഗലാപുരം ശാഖയും കൊച്ചി ശാഖയും ഹെഡ് ഓഫീസ് ക്യാപിറ്റലിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിരുന്നപ്പോൾ കോഴിക്കോട് ശാഖയെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം സ്വന്തമായ വരുമാനത്തിലായിരുന്നു പ്രവർത്തിച്ചിരുന്നത്.
British companies were on an extensive expansion spree, opening up new business centers and luxury resorts everywhere. It would be interesting to note that the currency distribution for all the trade centers in a vast area spread all over Ooty, Coimbatore and Dakshin Kannada was from the Kozhikode branch.
It is very difficult to imagine such a situation in today's banking environment, a branch issuing currency notes. Not just for Mayanad area, it was also taking care of the currency requirements of South Canara, Coimbatore and Ooty. So that was the prominence of this branch. And it is also heartening to note that the branch was opened by State Bank of India in those days, even before the other transport and other requirements like railways came, 25 years after the branch was opened. So State Bank of India, in its true tradition, always supported development of the area. We did not go there after this area is developed. We have gone there and we are part of the story of the development of the area. And this is how this branch has played very important role.
By the 1690s, the British troops had spread throughout the mountainous Ghat regions of Talasheri, its dense forest areas and the coastal stretches. The clarion call for war was sounded. The British had their fortresses ready. They had amassed huge treasures which were stashed away in these fortresses. There were arms and ammunition, entire artillery units set up within these fortresses too. There was remarkable growth and development in Talasheri and the areas around Talasheri, which were a significant part of Malabar. The handloom industry established itself a new signpost here, and cashew gifted another promising trade. In 1877, a new branch of the Bank of Madras opened office here at Talasheri. The trade investments and business transactions of Malabar shifted completely to the new Talasheri branch. The Kozhikode branch gradually lost luster and faded out.
The Bank of Madras had several crises between 1843 and 1860. From time to time, the government in fact threatened to wind it up. It was entirely run by a bunch of European businessmen. There was no Indian director in the bank. And these European directors often lent money to one another and they didn't pay back. So the bank was on the point of collapse several times.
1893 saw Appu Nedungadi, the first writer of Malayalam novel Kundalata, who was also the pleader for the British government, open the Nedungadi Bank. It is to be noted that he took a loan from the Kozhikode branch of the Bank of Madras for this purpose.
Central Bank of India came up in 1911. Bank of India came up in 1906 in Bombay. So, but these regional banks certainly occupied a space which the Bank of Madras did not occupy. I would put it that way. They lent to people whom the Bank of Madras did not ordinarily lend to. And later on, in Canara Bank and Syndicate Bank, they came up specifically for lending to big farmers. They were the first two banks who went inside into the rural areas and lent to the farmers. But of course there are nidhis in other parts in Tamil Nadu. I don't know whether there are nidhis in Malabar region. These nidhis were small operations, but these nidhis then converted themselves in the 1930s into small banks.
Early 20th century, a phase of intense struggle. Days of fiery retaliation by the valiant Indian freedom fighters. The rumbles of struggle for independence. The call for the Swadeshi movement. The rejection and boycott of all foreign products and foreign clothing. These were troubling times for the Kozhikode branch of the Bank of Madras too, for it was gradually losing its prominence.
It was in 1909 that a need was felt that branch must have its own premises. Till then, the branch was operating on leased premises. There were specific reasons which called for such a change. Calicut became the hub of the currency circle, which means currency brought from Madras by sea had to be distributed through the branches in this circle through the Calicut branch. This required having a strong room with a capacity to hold large number of currency. Following this, there was enquiries made to acquire the building than the premises which the branch was already located.
Mr. Strenok was the then agent of the Kozhikode branch of the Bank of Madras. It was Mr. Strenok who took the initiative for this purpose and wrote a letter to the British government. We understand that the government has decided to close the currency office at Kozhikode and open a currency test with the Bank of Madras. However, we feel that the premises at Manajura is not safe enough. The owner of our rented premises is not affluent enough to renovate the building too. But we have a keen interest in the land because of its proximity to the Huzur Court and the Treasury. Nor are we in a financial position to purchase this land. Hence, we hope you would acquire this land on behalf of the Bank of Madras.
അന്നത്തെ കളക്ടറായിട്ടുള്ള വുഡിൻ്റെ മുമ്പിലായിരുന്നു ഈ പ്രസ്തുത കത്ത് എത്തിയത്. അപ്പം ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു റിക്വസ്റ്റ് മുമ്പിൽ വരികയും അത് നടപ്പിലാക്കുന്നതിനും ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു പ്രധാന പ്രയാസം എന്തായിരുന്നു വെച്ചാൽ ബാങ്ക് യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ ഒരു പ്രൈവറ്റ് സ്ഥാപനമായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അന്നത്തെ ലാൻഡ് അക്വിസിഷൻ നിയമം അനുസരിച്ച് ഗവൺമെൻറ് സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി മാത്രമേ ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിന് നേരിട്ടുകൊണ്ട് അക്വിസിഷൻ നടത്താൻ സാധിക്കുമായിരുന്നു. ഈ ഒരു ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ടിൽ നിന്നാണ് അന്നത്തെ കളക്ടർ ഇതുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട അക്വിസിഷനുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ഏതെങ്കിലും തരത്തിലുള്ള ഇടപാടുകൾ മുമ്പ് ഇത്തരത്തിൽ നടന്നിട്ടുണ്ടോ എന്ന് അന്വേഷിക്കാനായിട്ട് ഉത്തരവിടുന്നത്. തുടർന്ന് ഹർട്ടീസ് എന്ന പേരുള്ള ഒരു ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ക്ലർക്കാണ് സമാനമായ രീതിയിൽ ഒരു ലാൻഡ് അക്വിസിഷൻ നടന്നതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട രേഖകൾ കണ്ടെത്തുന്നത്. ഈ രേഖകൾ പ്രകാരം ബാസൽ മിഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു മിഷണറി സംഘടനയ്ക്ക് മലബാറിൽ സ്വന്തമായ ഒരു കോളേജ് ആരംഭിക്കുന്നതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ലാൻഡ് അക്വിസിഷൻ ഗവൺമെൻറ് നേരിട്ട് നടത്തി കൊടുക്കുന്നതായിട്ടായിരുന്നു പറയുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. ഈ കോളേജാണ് പിന്നീട് ഇന്നത്തെ മലബാർ ക്രിസ്ത്യൻ കോളേജായി മാറിയത്. ഈ രേഖയെ പിന്തുടർന്നുകൊണ്ട് മാനാഞ്ചിറയ്ക്കടുത്ത് നിലനിന്നിരുന്ന തൈക്കണ്ടിപ്പറമ്പ് എന്നും തെക്കേ കണ്ടിപ്പറമ്പ് എന്ന പേരിലുള്ള 2 സ്ഥലങ്ങൾ ബാങ്കിന് വേണ്ടി കെട്ടിടം പണിയാനായിട്ട് ഏറ്റെടുത്ത് നൽകുവാൻ ഗവൺമെൻറ് തീരുമാനമെടുക്കുകയുണ്ടായി.
1921, the Khilafat movement, the Malabar struggle, a very critical period in the history of India. January 27, 1921, a landmark moment for the presidency banks. The 3 presidency banks of Bengal, Bombay and Madras unite to become the Imperial Bank of India.
പൈസക്കൊക്കെ ചോദിച്ചിട്ട് വരുമ്പോൾ കാരണന്മാരൊക്കെ പറയും, നീ എന്താ വിചാരിച്ചു, ഞാൻ ആരാന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചു, അങ്ങനെ എടുത്തു തരാൻ എന്താ, ഞാൻ ഇമ്പീരിയൽ ബാങ്കാണ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു നാടൻ മൊഴി കൂടി ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെ വളരെ പ്രാധാന്യം ഈ മലബാറിൻ്റെ ചരിത്രമായിട്ട് വളരെയധികം ബന്ധം. ഇന്നത്തെ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ബാങ്കിന് പഴയ കാലത്ത് അതിൻ്റെ പൂർവ്വ രൂപങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ തന്നെ അത്, കാരണം ഇവിടുത്തെ വ്യാപാരമായിട്ട്, വ്യവസായമായിട്ട്, കൃഷിയായിട്ട് ഒക്കെ വളരെയധികം ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് ഭരണത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു സിമ്പിളായിരുന്നില്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് ആ കാലത്ത് ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ സമരം ചെയ്യാൻ കലക്ടറേറ്റ് പോകുന്നതിന് പകരം അന്ന് സമരം ചെയ്തിരുന്നത് ഇതിൻ്റെ ബാങ്കിൻ്റെ മുമ്പിൽ വന്നിട്ടായിരുന്നു.
The Imperial Bank during this period had its own very different, well-grounded perspective. This perspective stood out prominently in matters of distinction of labor and differences in income.
The typical salary of a bank clerk, you will find that in the records, was 20 rupees. Of the menial staff, 8 rupees, 6 rupees, 5 rupees. So that was the situation. So unless you really read the actual history, you won't understand the degree of discrimination that the British rulers had practiced against the Indians.
1935, the formation of the Reserve Bank of India. The task of printing currency and minting coins and its exchange were centralized during this period. The control and power of the same was vested in the hands of the Reserve Bank governor. (1947), 15th August. British stepped down from power. India gains independence. first Prime Minister of independent India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, told the banks, "Do not concentrate just in towns and cities. Instead, move towards rural India. Go to the villages. It is the interaction with a common man that is the sign and aim of development, of achievements."
In 1947, when India became independent, many Indian businessmen, industrialists wanted the Imperial Bank to be nationalized. All right, and the several committees. One of them was the All India Rural Credit Committee, but there was another committee. They wanted the Imperial Bank to open many more branches.
Though Britain handed over power to India, the British companies continued with their trade and business in India. Aspinwall, Pierce Leslie, Wolcott Brothers were some of the companies that continued being in India. With the collapse of imperialism and formation of independent India, the Imperial Bank also shed its imperial title. In the year 1955, the Imperial Bank became India's premier bank for the people of India. It became the State Bank of India. Dr. John Mathai, the finance minister in independent India's first cabinet ministry, was the first chairman of the State Bank of India. Following him, several able governing luminaries headed this great institution. Srimati Arundhati Bhattacharya is the present chairperson of the State Bank of India. The 1960s envisaged the winds of change touching the leadership of the government. It witnessed major transformations in the economic policies. It stood witness to new summits in the socio-economic arena of the nation. Five banks, along with the State Bank of Travancore and the State Bank of Mysore, function today as the associates of the State Bank of India. These banks had earlier functioned as private banks, and in 1959 they became associates of the State Bank of India. The times were changing. The nation started moving ahead with a new perception. Our science and technology started progressing in leaps and bounds. New exciting dimensions emerged in technology. Information technology made its presence felt. The times, they were changing indeed. It paved the way for new directions in education. New areas in learning opened up. This era stood testimony to a shift in the centers of trade and business. State Bank of India rose up to the challenge and adapted well to the changing times. The bank truly proved itself to be the banker to every Indian, going hand in hand with the growth, progress and development of the nation.
Over a period of 150 years, there are so many changes in the banking scene, right from manual banking to, say, bank master computerization, now the CBS computerization, and the ATMs and the cash deposit machines, and we can see that entire range of development of banking in this branch, and it has adopted itself very quickly and also smoothly to serve the community. In fact, when it comes to cash deposit machines, it is a pioneer and it is the only branch which is giving this facility in the Calicut center. It shows that not only 150 years we were the leaders, even today the branch is the leader at this point of time.
Our Calicut branch is a witness to this transformation by providing the best customer service to the entire city of Calicut, and also involved in various initiatives including corporate social responsibility initiatives by providing fans, water coolers, medical vans, etc. to the public. It is also organized a Safe Blood initiative, a blood awareness campaign on this occasion.
State Bank of India sets aside 1% of its annual profit towards social and community services, serving the destitute, underprivileged and the deprived sections of the society. As an acknowledgement of the bank's fulfilling its corporate social responsibility, the bank was awarded the 2012 Golden Peacock Award.
Calicut branch has today crossed over 600 crores in terms of business. Let this branch henceforth be one of the rising stars and a beacon to all those us present around us and those of the future generations.
സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ബാങ്ക് ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യയുടെ ഒരു സർക്കിൾ കേരളത്തിൽ രൂപീകൃതമാകുന്നത് 2000 ആണ്ടിലാണ്. ആ സമയത്ത് 233 ശാഖകളും 2906 അവാർഡ് സ്റ്റാഫ് ജീവനക്കാരുമാണ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. ഇപ്പോൾ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ബാങ്ക് ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യയ്ക്ക് കേരളത്തിൽ 480 പരം ശാഖകളും 50,000 കോടി രൂപ ബിസിനസ്സും 506 കോടി രൂപയാണ് ഈ കഴിഞ്ഞ സാമ്പത്തിക വർഷത്തിലെ ലാഭവും നേടിയെടുക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചത്. ഈ വളർച്ചയ്ക്ക് കാതലായ ഒരു സപ്പോർട്ട് നമ്മുടെ ജീവനക്കാരിൽ നിന്ന് ഉണ്ടായെന്നുള്ളതിൽ യാതൊരു സംശയവുമില്ല.
The State Bank of India, with more than 200 years of banking tradition and expertise, has more than 15,000 branches all over the nation. Of the 480 branches in Kerala, 40 branches function in Kozhikode itself. About 228,000 citizens of India take pride in serving this mighty institution.
The tremendous progress the bank has made in the technological field over the last 20 years has taken a toll of officers. But the fact is that officers have been able to cope up with the progress in technology and also increase their customer service and efficiency parameters without any difficulties which is coming in their way. State Bank of India Officers Association is also known as Partners in Progress, along with its sister organization State Bank of India Staff Union as well as State Bank of India Management.
The Kozhikode branch of the State Bank of India resides on 231 cents of land in the heart of the city, with more than 70 dedicated employees and officers being a part of the proud family.
No wonder it is the cherished destination for banking activity in the city of Calicut. The NRI population of Calicut city takes pride in banking with the Calicut branch.
For the poor peasants who feed us by their hard work, for the working class, for the socially deprived and for the children who yearn for better education, State Bank of India has become the natural partner in their development. Life is not a standstill picture. It is something which is forever moving, evolving with the times. Celebrations are not that of the crowd around. It is that of the shining souls too.
ചരിത്രത്തെ ഭാവിയുമായി കൂട്ടിയോജിപ്പിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളൊരു പ്രക്രിയയാണ് നാം നടപ്പാക്കിയത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഈ ഒരു വർഷം നീണ്ടുനിന്ന എല്ലാ പരിപാടികളിലും സ്റ്റാഫ് അംഗങ്ങളുടെയും നാട്ടുകാരുടെയും പൂർണ്ണമായ സഹകരണം ഞങ്ങൾക്കുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഈ പരിപാടി സത്യത്തിൽ കോഴിക്കോട് നഗരത്തിൻ്റെ പരിപാടിയാക്കി മാറ്റുന്നതിൽ എല്ലാവരും പങ്കുവഹിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. എല്ലാവർക്കും ഞങ്ങളുടെ അധികം ഹൃദയം നിറഞ്ഞ നന്ദി ഞാനിവിടെ രേഖപ്പെടുത്തുകയാണ്.
I am thankful to Circle Management who gave me an opportunity to work at this branch during this happiest occasion. I will always cherish this memory and it was personally a very nice experience for me. I take this opportunity to thank my customers or well-wishers who had been with us during this period and who helped us to achieve this milestone. Instead of making the entire celebration an in-house one, we tried our best to make it a public participation celebration, and we feel that to a certain extent we have succeeded in doing so. And it will be our endeavor to give the best services in future also, and we rededicate ourselves to our customers and we assure them the best possible service in future.
As the nation gets ready for the times to come, we are geared up for the challenges of tomorrow.
State Bank of India, the banker to every Indian.